Hey everybody, it is your host, Brent Daniels. And, I get this question a lot because there's kind of different definitions of what wholesaling is. What is wholesaling exactly? Let me give you my definition of it and see if it feels good inside your brain, okay? My definition of wholesaling, real estate wholesaling, is simple. It is just sourcing real estate opportunities. It's that simple. Sourcing real estate opportunities. And we all know, it seems like it's kind of crazy. Different markets, different trends, it feels like it's a moving target on how you're going to find these opportunities. Is it going to be direct mail? Is it going to be internet leads? Is it going to be cold calling? Is it going to be door knocking? Is it going to be text blasting? What is it going to be? But if you focus on what the foundation of sourcing real estate opportunities is, it is one thing only, and that is being consistent in having quality conversations with distressed property owners, okay? Quality conversations with distressed property owners. And I think that this leads in beautifully because I have a guy on here that invested into the TTP program over 2 years ago and has just been crushing it as a real estate agent. A lot of people start in this business and they want to get a real estate license so that they feel confident, which gives them confidence moving forward to find these amazing opportunities. But after 2 years of being in the TTP program, he has broken through with his partner in crime here out of Salt Lake County, Utah, Mark Dunn and Nick Jensen. Say hello, guys.
Hey, how's it going?
How's it going?
Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
I'm excited to have you on here because, when you posted to the private TTP group about what has been recently happening in your life, in your business life, in your real estate journey, we had comment after comment after comment, and everybody wanted you on the podcast. So I know that this is going to translate to a lot of people listening and watching. If you guys are listening to this, you can definitely watch this interview at Brent Daniels Real Estate on YouTube. Definitely check it out, and you can see these guys and take a look at what's going on here. But so give us your background, guys. Give us an idea of who you are. Set the stage for us.
Yeah, absolutely. So Mark Dunn, I just turned 33. I've been a realtor since about 2011, so 8 years, and have built up a pretty good automated business where I don't really have to do much prospecting, right? But about 2 or 3 years ago, I actually started listening to the Wholesaling Inc. podcast and just had this idea in my brain. Man, I'd love to get into this. I've flipped maybe 4 or 5 properties, love doing that, hold a few rentals, but have an awesome family, have a beautiful wife, 3 kids. So that's a little bit about me.
Yeah, Nick Jensen here. I've been a real estate agent as well for 2.5 years. I played college basketball here in Utah and went the traditional route, making $60,000 a year as a stockbroker, and just started buying properties. I bought a couple owner-occupied rental properties, and then turned them into rentals, and then got my license because I got really, really into it and wanted to kind of represent myself and I had a lot of friends interested in real estate, and then met Mark probably 6 months after I got my license. And I've got 4 kids here, and
he actually just had triplets about they're almost a year now, right?
They're 9 months. Yeah.
Gosh, I can't even imagine. So, I have 2 spaced way apart, and it's a challenge. Yeah.
It's true.
So we both like to play basketball, simple guys, but we love all things real estate. So excited to share our experience.
So would you guys say that what percentage of because there's a lot of real estate agents, there's a lot of realtors that listen to this podcast and they're wanting to break out of the traditional business because they do have a huge passion for real estate investing, sourcing these deals that you see. I remember as a real estate agent, you see some guys, some people get these like incredible deals when you're running comps and you're looking to like go to a listing or something and you see this like super low low, priced house, and you're like, how did this happen? This isn't real life. And then all of a sudden you start digging a little bit and you're like, oh my gosh, somebody got this off market. They went direct to seller. How did they get these deals? I mean, have you guys gone through that similar experience?
Yeah, I personally did, 2 or 3 years ago, and just and you also think, man, on the MLS, it's just so hard. There's no deals out there, right? You get that mindset as a realtor. There's no deals out there because all you're seeing is market prices. What really piqued my interest was the first couple of flips that I did. They were actually sellers that were they were trashed houses, and I was able to purchase them for cash offers. What got me going on that was listening to Wholesaling Inc. 3-4 years ago, right? So yeah, definitely. And then that just made me think, man, there are some deals out there, but it's hard to get over that realtor brain, right? Of there's not a ton of deals out there. That's been one of the biggest hurdles for me.
I think for me, I mean, coming from just an investment background, studying finance in college, just the concept of buying low and selling high, right? I mean, especially here in Utah. I mean, I bought my first home 4 years ago for $175 in a pretty, decent city here, pretty close to downtown, and now those homes are going for $330. And so kind of what drives me to get off-market deals personally, I mean, it's kind of it starts there personally with Mark trying to invest ourselves, is just to get those 2015 prices, 70 cents on the dollar. I mean, that's Mark's, always saying that, you make money on the buy, right? And we kind of view the MLS as where we go to get top dollar when we sell, right? As far as, if we did hold a property. And so, we love the concept of wholesaling too, right? If we don't want to, flip it ourselves or hold on to it, we love giving that opportunity to someone else. And the deal that Mark posted about kind of exactly hits home there. And so that's kind of why personally it's like, well, I don't want to buy a condo for $300,000 that cash flows $50 a month, right? We want to find these, Mark talks about the 1% rule, all these different things, the bigger pockets, Wholesaling Inc, everyone talks about. And so that's kind of why we're attracted to off market. And then to answer your question for other agents, every agent has had that annoying investor client they brag about. I've got an investor from California or from out of town. They want you to do all this work finding them a great deal, and these deals simply a lot of times just aren't on the MLS, especially right now in Utah. I mean, who wants a 6% cap rate when, if we go off market, we could simply send them all the wholesalers deals, mark it up $10,000 and they'd be getting a better deal than the MLS. So that's kind of where, as an agent, kind of where we're at. So
I love it.
Absolutely.
And with wholesaling, with the definition that I have of sourcing real estate opportunities, hey, listen, that doesn't mean you have to assign it and make an assignment fee. That doesn't mean that you have to buy it and flip it. That doesn't mean that you have to buy it and rent it. You can do any of those things. You could do any of those, but because you sourced it, now all of a sudden, like you were saying, from a finance background, you're getting it at a discounted price. You know what I mean? I bought an Airbnb this week because it was $20,000 more than what it sold for in 2013. Like, in a perfect, right? Like, it's just absolutely phenomenal. I mean, you get these opportunities for sure. But, I think that there's two things, and I want to touch on this for anybody that's thinking about getting their license or anybody that is licensed, has a real estate license, a couple things. And we talked about it before we went live here, but number one is, how do you get off of the income carousel that goes, because you guys are successful agents out there. I mean, you guys are making, really top 2% of agents' income in the country, truly, right? And not only that, how do you sprinkle in wholesaling into that, or how do you let wholesaling take over that business? That's the first thing. The second thing is, how do you flip the switch in your mind that says, I'm going to go there with fiduciary duty, which basically means that you have the seller's interest in mind, as an agent versus you go there as a cash buyer where your interests are at the forefront. There's two things. So what's your guys' thoughts here on this carousel? Because you guys are making fantastic income as traditional agents.
Yeah. I think for us, it's hard to get, it is extremely hard to get off that carousel, right? But now that I finally got my first deal, it changes the chemistry in your brain, like you always say. And it makes you realize that, I mean, for me, it's like do 30 deals to make, 200, 250 grand when we could just do 10 wholesaling deals and make that. It's just, I think that's, for me, that's where I'm getting excited, right? I can do less deals, have these amazing opportunities. We can do whatever exit strategy we want, and move forward. To answer your second question, then I'll let Nick answer. What was the second question again?
Second question is basically like, how do you go into these houses being licensed for so long, being a realtor for so long, and go into it as the cash buyer and not, Mark, the realtor, I want to get you the highest price possible for your house?
Yeah. Yep. I think number one on that, I think that's been my biggest struggles over the last 2 years of not getting deals. I was thinking too much as a realtor and not presenting it in the right way, right? And I think what's changed for us is we did just go in as cash buyers. If they do ask about like market value, we give them our honest opinion. Like be truthful in all things, right? Be a truth teller, truth seeker. But we don't just give them the market value unless they ask for it, right? But we're very honest in that. Also, just being honest in giving them all their options. I think that's where it's changed for me too. Asking them, why aren't you listing this on the MLS? Why don't you turn this into a rental? I think those things have really helped me to switch off the realtor hat and become more of just a cash buyer and just going in with confidence that yes, we're just going to buy your house with cash, right? I think those are some of the things I felt at. But
well, no, and to piggyback, I mean, for me, especially as a newer agent, I'm only 20, just turned 29. A lot of my friends, they want to go on the retail market. They want to buy a nice fixed up, a nice home down, wherever it may be in Utah. And so there is on the MLS a lot bigger of a pool. So it's a different mindset. It's, hey, I'll negotiate you the best deal. You might get it 97 cents on the dollar versus, and so for me, it's not that hard to it's more of a time thing, but it's not that hard to say, okay, this guy wants a brand new home versus, when we go into these listing appointments with cash buyers, I mean, an example, a lot of times they don't know how much it takes to fix a home. And so like Mark said, we just tell them like, look, how much do you think a kitchen, a roof, all these things are? And then by the end of it, sure, it could sell for $350 if they dumped in the 80 grand, but they don't even have $5 grand in their bank account. And so I think being a realtor, and I'm not saying everyone should, has actually given me more knowledge to be able to know what's a good deal and educate people and say, look, if you did fix this up, you could sell it for this. And then they're kind of like, well, I don't have 80 grand. I don't want to deal with it. So that's kind of, I don't think it's that hard to switch it.
Yeah.
It's funny. The first time that it really sunk in, this is like really early into my wholesaling, like learning it and getting it figured out. And I remember my grandma referred me one of her friends, right? And this house was cluttered up. It needed the carpets cleaned. It needed the paint done, and had this big, really kind of annoying dog that lived there. And I said, listen, you can put like a couple thousand into paint and clean up the carpet and decluttering, and you could put it on the market. I think you could sell it for 200. Or I can give you an offer right now for 125, right? And cash. Yeah. You don't have to do anything, as is. Nobody comes through it, whatever it is, And she was thinking about it. And she goes, you know what? I think I'm going to just take the 125 because I don't want my dog to bite anybody or get upset that people are coming to the house. $75,000 difference, guys. Like, I think that we hallucinate a lot, especially real estate agents. Real estate agents hallucinate all the time on what they think people are going to expect for the price of their property. And I get it, because everybody wants more than it's worth for the most part. But we're talking about the 6 to 10% of the market, and everybody's market across the country, that is in distress of some sort, whether it be mental distress, whether it be financial distress, whether it just be that they've inherited property, don't want to deal with it. 6 to 10%. That's where you find these wholesale opportunities. It's not the regular, it's not like you were saying, everybody else that you know and wants to live in a nice, 4-bedroom, 3-bath, brand new granite countertops, bathrooms done type of house. We're talking about houses that need some love. And that leads me into how what you've been doing over the last 2 years, which I think is really smart, Mark. Now, obviously, over the last 2 years, you haven't been taking as much action on this list that you've been compiling. But once you started to, it's amazing what happened. So why don't you explain to everybody what you've been doing over the last 2 years?
Yeah, one more point with the question you just asked real quick. I think as a realtor, I was always about the house and about real estate. And it was so hard for me to get over that. But now when we've had success, because it's all about rapport building, all about them, all about their situation, right? And so I think that's the biggest hat that I've had to take off as a realtor. It's all about the value and the house. And so anyways, I hope that's
huge.
Point helps.
Absolutely. Yep. That is huge. Yes. Yep.
And then so when I started 2 years ago, Brent always pushed like driving for dollars, get out, get it. That's going to be where you can get your first deal the fastest. So I hired a guy immediately, paid him $10 an hour, which is an amazing price. And he drove for probably 10 to 20 hours a week. And he's done that consistently for 2 years. We have over, around 9,000 tagged properties. Here is what is blowing my mind about that. There are and that's only about half of Salt Lake County, right? Mm-hmm. So there's probably about 12 to 15,000 distressed properties in Salt Lake County. That turned a light bulb on in my mind that there really are plenty of deals for everyone, because that's one of the biggest things. There's a lot of big players here in Salt Lake County, right? And there's a new wholesaler every day that I see a deal from. But I just go back to my driving for dollars list. There's 15,000 properties just in Salt Lake County. Those guys will sell at some point, and I bet 95% of them don't have the money to fix it up, right? But yeah, this driving for dollars list is insane. We're excited to attack this thing like crazy. That's some of our big plans, is to really take more massive action than we have on this list, right?
So break it down. Are you using any apps, or are you just writing it down old school?
Yeah, Deal Machine for sure. Code TTP. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that app's incredible. And we've actually we're looking for some driving for dollars people in other counties as well. So we're excited about the potential of that. We're gonna put all of our marketing money into that list for sure.
So you've got your driver. It's loading up these. It's organized in the app, and then you skip trace them. You get the phone number, and then who's calling these people?
So we've had our lady from the Philippines for $6 an hour. We've had her calling those. We are actually going to switch strategies on that. We're going to have her call the bigger lists, because she's really good at calling for 4-8 hours a day, right? For the next few months, I'm going to take over the driving for dollars, leaving the voicemails, and really trying to pull better deals out of that list. That's kind of our plan with cold calling. But it has been our Filipino cold caller in the past, and that has gotten us a few of these deals. So
awesome. So let's talk about a deal that you've done here, right? Now, was it just the one, or you had a couple going? Tell me what was going on, because I feel like it was a big. Go ahead.
Yeah. So we've closed one massive deal that we'll talk about, and then we've got a couple of other awesome deals under contract that is awesome. And another side that we'll talk about it too is we actually took the massive deal. We're 1031ing that to own a couple of these other deals that we're buying. That's why we got into wholesaling, is to build a rental portfolio. We make good enough money as realtors to have a good lifestyle. We actually would love that to be wholesaling money, and we're going to get there. But really, we got into this to build a huge rental portfolio. So we're really excited about this 1031 opportunity and the deals that we have. So
and it only took you 730 days to take it seriously.
Seriously.
You should tell them about when we almost got killed.
Oh yeah, we actually had a deal, and then we'll go into our deal. I took him on a motivated seller appointment. Mm-hmm. And I think this actually took the wind out of our sails, actually. We went in, this house had cars all over. It was just trashed. The guy was on basically house arrest.
Yeah.
And he had an AK-47 at the front door. And anyways, we feel like he yelled at us.
Mark pissed him off.
Yeah. So anyways, we that was a pretty scary situation. But anyways, we can go deeper on that at another time. But
well, tell us about your big deal.
Yeah, let's go. Go ahead. Tell them about it.
Cool. So yeah, me and Mark, I'll just give a little preface, have been friends for a while through Realtor, playing basketball, all this, and he kind of approached me, and I think it's from my conversion on the real estate leads that we were working before as realtors, and he just sent me a CRM. Never heard of the CRM before, but it had 50 phone numbers in it, and what I love negotiating, closing deals, talking on the phone, everything else, systems, things like that. I feel like I'm not maximizing my, time and skill set. So I took action. I mean, the Filipino cold caller, she vetted the driving for dollars leads, and I just started calling. And I think it was the third guy I called. He picked up and he said he was willing to have an appointment, and pretty cool property in a city called Midvale here in Utah, kind of 15 minutes south of downtown Salt Lake. But yeah, I mean, we went there, and he was Mark. I didn't even know really how to do wholesaling. I mean, Mark told me, look what it's worth on Zillow, like on my way to the appointment, and was kind of texting me some pointers. And he, I think Zillow said the home was worth $350, and that's what the guy was going off of. He was like, man, this thing's worth a ton. But then Mark kept telling me build a rapport, so I just talked to him, and it was real friendly, no different than how I normally talk to people. And he just kind of went through. I was like, so show me the home. What are your thoughts? What are your plans? And just really just asked a kind of ton of questions. I think that's the biggest thing, is kind of just letting them talk and tell you about it. And he was like, the roof's ruined, 15 grand to fix that. The kitchen, this 30 grand for a new kitchen. And he showed me this layout that he had designed on like Paint or something, some program. And, he had all these immaculate ideas. And then I just kept asking questions. What do you owe on the property? Just trying to see kind of what I was dealing with, kind of getting the bottom of everything. And, I kind of let him know. He eventually threw a number out. I think he wanted $220 for the property. And then obviously, I kind of fumbled through it. I was like, yeah, I don't know if we can pay that, blah, blah, blah. And then what we did was he wasn't ready to sign any paperwork that day. And so I know Mark says some wholesalers will like go buy some spaghetti for their wife and then come back with a $500 gift card and stay there all night. I'm not that type of person. I'm pretty kind of it is what it is. And so I think he actually appreciated that though. And then I went out of town, and me and Mark just kept talking about it. And then the next time he agreed to meet with us again, he had talked to, I think, one of his friends about
a couple things real quick at the appointment. I think we offered him 160.
Oh, did we?
Yeah, we offered him 160. And his motivation was his daughter lived with him, and she had like 3 kids, daughter and son-in-law, so her wife, and like 3 or 4 kids. This house was just completely trashed. It was just disgusting. We really felt bad for the kids. I think one of our main motivations was to help him get out of this house, to get these kids out of this disgusting house, right? And so I think that was the biggest motivate. He was like keeping up on his payments and stuff, right? So he wasn't motivated financially. He had a good job, but the house was in complete distress. And I think that's the motivation, that's the biggest motivation we could find. And then the kids being sick. So we just kept going down that route, right? So that's a couple more things from the appointment. But
No, exactly. Yeah. And that was a big thing. He wanted to talk to his daughter and her husband. And so there was it seemed like 20 decision makers. And so, yeah, eventually we got another appointment with him. I think he even called us, because I think when we offered 160, he was like, I'm not willing to sign anything. Let me talk it over. And then we met with him. I think that's when he was bent on the 225. And then at that appointment, he started telling me about his big old plans of developing like a fourplex on the property. He showed me all this stuff. He had all these dreams and aspirations, and then we kind of took that information, and Mark kind of just did some research, and you can tell him a little bit about that. But we found that the land was developable. It's on 0.4 acres, which is quite a bit here in Salt Lake City if you own that big of a lot. And so, anyways, push comes to shove. I mean, how did it end? I can't even remember.
Well, how many times did you follow up with this guy because he kind of went cold a couple times on us. How many times do you think you called and texted this guy? And this is
probably 10 times.
10 times. Okay.
Yeah. 10, 15, 20 times. I don't know.
Yeah. We
probably met with him 5 times.
Yeah.
So
this wasn't your easy peasy, like, knock it down, right? We had to do a lot of follow up. And those 2 years, and this is a golden nugget, I think, for people. The reason I failed is that I did a horrible job at following up. I was great on the first phone call and appointment, but I just don't love follow-up. He's really good at it, and that's where I failed. So follow up until they give you a yes or no. I don't care if you follow up 1,000 times, right? Mm-hmm. Follow up. You could text and call 10 times a day. You're probably not even bugging them. In our minds, we think we are. But until they say, leave me alone or yes, I think that's the key to wholesaling or traditional real estate, right?
Yep.
But
yeah, I always say you're not going to go poor with excess follow up. You know what I mean? Like, you're not going to lose deals because of excess follow up. I mean, go there until it's at that point where they're ready to make a decision. And as long as you're the first one in their brain that they're thinking of, you're going to at least get a shot at it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. So we finally got this deal locked down at like 196,300. Which we obviously wanted it lower, but anyways, that was the best he would do. If he wouldn't go any lower, we tried, every negotiating method out there.
Yeah, I mean, he had an investor friend that financed his mortgage, so we were just kind of like, I mean, this guy. He even said, "Well, my buddy will just buy the home if you don't, So he had a little bit of leverage on us there.
Yeah,
but. Yeah, so we settled the deal, and then
and this we're gonna try to make this really long story short. This was probably a 6-month deal, right? This was not your easy, like, get it under contract, flip it in 10 days. Because we knew it was a massive deal, we closed on it with hard money. We have a great hard money lender, Zach, here in Utah. So if you need any hard money connections, come to us here. But anyways, we sent this list out. I actually only had about 30 cash buyers because I just didn't focus on that, right? Like, I want a deal. I know Wholesaling Inc. teaches build your huge cash buyers database, and follow that program. It gets you farther ahead than where I got, right? But anyways, I had 30, 40 cash buyers. I'm like, crap, I need some more cash buyers if we're going to get the most out of this thing. So I busted my butt for about 4, 5, 6 days and got our list up to 2,000 cash buyers. And then we sent this list out, and we only had about 5 or 6 offers from flippers that would only make us about $20,000 to $25,000 on this deal, an assignment fee, right? Yeah. And so we're like, and we had spent a lot of time on the developing side of this thing, like thinking, well, we could develop this, Mm-hmm. So I met with the city. I figured all this stuff out. We actually had kind of gotten the neighbor's house under contract, not fully, but because if you can get both neighbors on this property, you can get 6 units, 6 brand new units. So anyways, we kind of went down a little bit more of that route. We didn't take any of the flippers' offers. Because we knew there was more in this thing than that. And I think another key point, too, is slow down on your assignment, right? If you know you can get more, don't hurry and take that first offer. Like, slow down and get as many offers as you can, get as many cash buyers the deal as you can. So anyways, we kind of went down that route. met with some developers. We got an offer from a developer that was only going to net us about 30,000. We were excited to make 5,000 more.
Yeah.
Anyways, they didn't perform on it, and then we just, for about 2 or 3 months, we just went back and forth with this developer, and finally got this deal locked down and closed. We actually held a lot of the leverage because that developer got under contract on the neighbor's house.
Yeah.
So he had the neighbor's house, we had our house, and so we didn't really have an option to sell to anybody else because we really wanted to help this guy do the deal and not get screwed over on overpaying on the neighbor's house, right? So anyways, it was an up and down roller coaster of negotiating for 2 months. He was probably trying to find financing. It was an insane negotiating process, but we came out with a great deal. We're actually really good friends with these developers now. We're going to learn a lot from them. They're awesome people. They're doing big things. Anyways, do you want to tell them what we assigned this for and our what
So
we made on this deal?
did you close on it or did you assign it?
Oh yeah, sorry. We closed on it. We held
Okay.
it for a few months, hard money, and then sold it to them.
So this was kind of a Swiss Army knife type of property. We knew if we flipped it, we could make 70 grand. And so we were kind of like, man, do we want to, like, the flippers were kind of not giving the property enough credit. They were, I mean, it's in a really good area. And so we were like, well, we don't really want to spend the time because we're over here churning, wanting to grow our wholesaling, churning our, our realtor deals. Our family lives are crazy. We both have a bunch of kids. So we, so that was kind of our last option, but for an extra, 40, 50 grand, we thought, flipping it might be good. But then, the developer, he went and overpaid for the neighbor, like Mark said. And then we thought there was even a point where we were going to just then get him out of the debacle of the neighbor, and we were going to develop it ourselves because the third neighbor, we almost got locked up. Then we could have built a 14-unit kind of subdivision.
Yeah.
But just, if you don't have the cash and the returns that a lot of these investors want, we essentially penciled it out that we ended up selling it to this developer for $250, got him to pay all of our taxes, which the title company thought was absurd, but we were staunch on that. And then I negotiated, we together negotiated, we're going to be the listing agents on all 6 townhomes that are going to sell for about $420. So there's another 72 grand in about a year. And then if they don't develop, we have a, $50,000 clause that they owe us. So it's a $100,000 deal no matter what.
Yeah.
And the cool thing is we've parlayed this 1031 money into more off-market deals, and I'll let you talk about that. But
yeah,
So how much? How much did you make? That's your 1031ing. Like what?
$52,000.
Okay, hold on a second.
I've been waiting 2 years for that bell.
That's
man.
what everybody wants,
Yeah.
That's what everybody wants, the bell. That is awesome, guys. I mean, just absolutely incredible. And now you're taking that profits because you guys are successful in real estate, and because from a cash flow standpoint, you don't need that money right now to live off of. You're reinvesting into what, rentals?
Yeah, we're under contract on a duplex type property in West Valley, Utah here. That's an interesting one, actually. Reverse mortgage short sell. Sounds going to take a bit of time, but I've never met a more motivated seller. She'd literally sell it to us for $1 if the bank would short sell it for that price, right?
Yeah.
And then we're working on a seller finance fourplex that we're actually going to put together after this call. I mean, this guy is awesome.
And is this sourced from your Filipino caller?
Yes. Yep. 100%. Yep. So it's pretty amazing.
I love it. It's amazing what happens when you do lead follow up.
Yep.
So
yeah,
Nick,
it's true. In fact,
Good job there. I mean, just to break it down so that everybody's seeing the process here. Literally, they have somebody driving around for $10 an hour using the Deal Machine app. Use the TTP code to get it $10 off a month, and they've got 8,000 to 9,000. They've got another double that they can get, and they're going to expand into other counties. They then get their skip tracing back. Skip tracing is just getting the phone numbers for those addresses. So if anybody's wondering how they're doing that, I use Batch, skiptracing.com. Do you guys use Batch? Who do you guys use?
I've used both Batch, skip tracing, and Lead Sherpa because they were cheaper.
Yep.
And so both, I felt like both are actually pretty good quality. I haven't compared numbers, but yeah, these deals have come from Lead Sherpa because actually that West Valley deal came from texting on Lead Sherpa. So
awesome.
It's pretty talking to people and texting people. There's no better way to do it, man.
That's it. And then once you've got somebody making the calls for you, it's $6 an hour. It goes into, Nick mentioned that there is a CRM that just means client relationship manager. If you don't know what that is, it's basically just a database. He calls in that, he's following up, gets the appointment, follows up even more, gets this thing locked up. They close on it. They then sell this. Boom. They're taking the profits from that and putting it into other deals that they're getting from talking to people. Come on. That's what I'm talking about. I love it, guys. I love it. Yeah. Well, good. Well, guys, absolutely phenomenal. How do people get a hold of you in your area, or if they want to reach out and kind of get into your world?
Yeah. You can find me on Instagram, Mark Dunn, MarkDunn.realtor. And that's the best way for me, for sure.
Yeah, and I'm on Instagram as well, just Nick Jensen, NickJenson.
Awesome, guys. Any advice, real quick, because we're into this thing, but any advice to anybody that is a real estate agent that you would give them about the potential of doing some wholesale deals?
Yeah, absolutely. I think number one, join the program. I would say join Wholesaling Inc. and TTP if you have the money. Join them both. Get around the people that are wholesaling and are successful. And then I think number two, take massive action. I mean, we're ready now that we've felt it, we've tasted it. We're ready to take even triple, quadruple action that we've taken, right?
I love
it. And failure forward. It's such a different animal, wholesaling, right? So just keep going. Just keep failing your way forward. The deal will come, whether it takes a month or 2 years, and it will change your life. Like real estate investing, there's nothing better for building wealth, right? So those are my tips for realtors.
No, and for me, I think it just adds to your value, right? I mean, I think anyone can call, go on Zillow and find a home and pick it out. But if you're able to bring, if as an agent, if you're able to, truly, you can even personally wholesale deals to investor clients, right? I mean, and they want long-term holds. I mean, you don't only have to wholesale to a bunch of flippers who then want to make 20 grand and then put it on the MLS. I mean, I think being an agent, the way I view it, and I don't know if it's right or wrong, I think, to me, I want to optimize every opportunity and get the return on my time. So, if that means holding it as a rental or seller financing the deal myself, or just passing it on because we don't want to, we don't want to deal with it and give someone else the opportunity. I think that's why I love wholesaling. And I think as a realtor, all these quote unquote investor clients that people have, I mean, you can add that value as a wholesaler, but to be honest, I think the best deals, generally if you have another source of revenue you can keep for yourself and others that are close to you, which I think is really cool. So
yeah.
Love it, guys. Thank you guys so much. It has been just phenomenal. I mean, just a ton, step by step, exactly how these guys are doing it. And 2 years later, I mean, I'm just thrilled. I'm absolutely thrilled that you're getting going with this and adding that into your real estate business, which is phenomenal. And anybody out there listening or watching that's interested in joining the most proactive group in real estate investing, it is the TTP family. Go to wholesalinginc.com/ TTP. That's wholesalinginc.com/TTP. Check out what the program's about. 36 videos breaking everything down that you need to know to set up everything so that you can be a productive beast in your market. Plus, you get access to me, and go check out all the testimonials. If it feels good, sign up for a call. Love to work with you personally. Guys, thank you from Utah.